To further explain the legal side of this case, we want to bring in former federal prosecutor David Weinstein. Mr. Weinstein has decades of experience as a criminal defense attorney and also a federal and state prosecutor. David, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Aaron. Good to see you.
We just are seeing pictures of Anthony Warner, the first pictures released since that Christmas Day bombing. How much of Warner's past will need to be brought up to get clarity on why this has happened?
Well, they're going to look into his past and its history to see exactly what his motive was. As it stands right now, it appears to be a suicide bombing. He hasn't listed any manifesto. He hasn't listed any connection to any domestic or international terrorist group. So they're going to look in his background to see if whether there is any sort of radicalism that took place with him, or if this was just something that he acted out on alone. If he acted alone and there are no other people who helped him, other co-conspirators, it's going to go down as an individual who was troubled, had a troubled mind, and sought to end his life.
There are a lot of questions about the Nashville bombing and the use of the word domestic terrorism. Do you see this as a terrorist attack, or could it be something different?
Well, it could simply be a man who had a problem and who sought to end his life, but the reason they're using the word domestic terrorism is that allows the federal authorities to be actively involved in this investigation. It's important to point out to your viewers that there is no federal crime of domestic terrorism. There's a crime that's defined, and acts that are defined as domestic terrorism. And what that does is it allows all of these federal agencies to work with each other, whether it's ATF, whether it's FBI. They brought in the Nashville explosives people as well. Using the words domestic terrorism allows them to investigate this crime at a much broader base. Now, if there's evidence that it's international terrorism or that it's based somehow with efforts outside the U.S. to bring harm or send a message to the government in the U.S., that's an entirely different story. But we don't know enough right now, or at least those of us that have public information don't know enough now to say one way or another whether this is a lone wolf or whether it's somebody who's acting in concert with other people.
What will prosecutors look for as they continue to comb through the evidence and the rubble that was left behind?
Well, they'll look for any factors that are going to identify anybody else who might have been involved. They're going to look at the explosive device itself that detonated the RV. They're going to be able to trace perhaps where those came from. They're going to look at his internet access and his databases to determine whether or not he's been ordering anything lately. Things as simple as his credit card receipts, some phone records to see who he was talking to immediately prior to driving his RV to that location. They'll look and see whether or not he's been doing any research to determine whether or not he targeted this AT&T location, or whether, again, this is simply someone who sought to end his own life and to make a big splash out of doing so.
Former federal prosecutor David Weinstein. David, thank you.
You're welcome.